Pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10(4)-10, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertising such notice in the Home News Tribune, the Asbury Park Press, the Board Office, the schools, and on Cablevision Channel 118, and Verizon Fios Channel 24, and by filing such notice with the Township Clerk. This meeting was scheduled for Tuesday, February 11th. Wait, no. It's the 18th. We'll fix that one. The 18th, 2025. The board will take formal action on payment of bills and other agenda items. Mr. Waddell?
The Old Bridge Township Board of Education acknowledges that the law of the state establishes that members of the public, including members of the board, have the right to record public board meetings using audio or video recording devices, provided that the act of recording does not interfere with the business of this public board meeting. Therefore, the board makes it known that any such recording is to be considered the private recording of the individual and in no manner represents the official record of this board. The board therefore takes no responsibility for such private recording and completely disavows any future use.
Roll call, please.
Dunn.
Here.
Francisco.
Here.
Giordano.
Here.
Jodry.
Here.
Mazzone.
Here.
Slade.
Here.
Solokowski.
Here.
Venkatesan.
Here.
Dantuno.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Can we stand for the pledge and everyone remain standing for a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance. Move the Board of Education acknowledge the death of, oh, I should have done this first. Liza? Someone help me with that? I don't want to mispronounce her. Liza Chanley, retired district secretary. Josephine Martinelli, retired district paraprofessional, and Alice Newman, district substitute teacher, and expresses the deepest sympathy to their families and friends. Thank you. You can all be seated. Christina, can you do the Code of Ethics, please?
The board members will confine his or her board actions to policy making, planning, and appraisal, and help to frame policies and plans only after the board has consulted those who will be affected by them.
Thank you. We're going to discuss and hopefully approve the district goals and board goals later on in the meeting. Can I have a motion for the approval of minutes, please?
Ms. Owen, motion.
Second?
Giordano, second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Dunn.
Yes.
Francisco.
Yes.
Giordano.
Yes.
Jodry.
Yes.
Mazzone.
Yes.
Slade.
Yes.
Solokowski.
Yes.
Venkatesan.
Yes.
Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolution 1 for approval of minutes passes.
Report from the student representative.
Hi everyone. The students of Old Bridge High School had a busy and exciting month. Winter sports are finishing up and most teams are competing in the GMC and state tournaments. Miss O'Reilly and the drama department are working hard on the spring musical, 42nd Street, which will open on March 20th. The Black Student Union hosted a Teachers versus Students basketball tournament, which was a great way to bring the faculty and students together outside of the classroom. The People First program hosted a Sweetheart Soiree to raise money for the Old Bridge Pet Shelter. This past week, Old Bridge High School celebrated its first ever Hope Week. Hope Squad is a peer-to-peer suicide prevention program. It aims to foster human connection, community, and hope within our school. Throughout the week, students participated in activities focused on growth mindset, self-care, inclusion, all hosted by the Hope Squad members ranging from 9th through 12th grade. On Thursday, February 13th, Mayor Walker officially proclaimed a Day of Hope, which we commemorated with a yellow out. Students and staff wore yellow shirts to symbolize the light we can shine during difficult times. It was an inspiring and impactful experience and helped reduce the stigma surrounding mental health within our school's community. The Asian American Club will host their annual Mock Shoddy this Friday, February 21st, and this Saturday is Indoor Percussion's first competition of the season. The final meeting for the senior trip to Disney will be February 26th, and the class of 2027 will be hosting a volleyball tournament on March 10th to raise money for our sophomore class. Finally, almost 300 students enjoyed a very successful and fun nights out on February 7th. It was only possible with the leadership of Mrs. Obdyke, Mrs. Borriello, and the many faculty and student volunteers. We would also like to thank the entire high school administration who were there throughout that night. The Student Senate would also like to extend our gratitude to anyone who donated to support our event. We are looking forward to another great month at Old Bridge High School. Thank you and have a great night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For recognition, items 1 through 3, can I have a motion?
Francisco will motion.
Ms. Olmos, second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Francisco,
Yes.
Giordano,
Isn't Mr. Cedino going to do the presentation first? Or? Sorry. Okay. Okay. Yes.
Chaudhry,
Yes.
Mazzone,
Yes.
Slade,
Yes.
Solakowski,
Yes.
Venkatason,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 3 for recognition passes, and we'll have Mr. Citadino up at the podium to present.
I do apologize. While I was walking over, did you do the retirements yet? Okay. So why don't we start off with Mr. Solakowski? You usually do the retirements, correct?
What?
Traditionally, you have done the retirements.
Oh, the retirees. Apologize, I was working with the student over here. Okay, 2 retirees, Kellyanne Kelly and Stephanie Chin. 26 years and 25 years, a total of 51 years. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Mr. Solakowski. At this time, can I have Amira? Can she come up with the family?
You caught me off guard. I was working with the kid.
Here, come up. Family behind me. Here we go. Come on. Promise you, I will not. Come closer. I showered for the occasion. All right. So move the board to recognize Amira Deva Anganes Goldwyn from Voorhees Elementary School. As a student, she was selected as the 4th grade winner for the Old Bridge Elks Drug Awareness Poster Competition. Amira's poster will now be entered into the district competition. I also think it's a state competition as well as she gets entered wider. So I'm going to present her with the certificate of recognition. We're also proud of you as the board in the District of Old Bridge for your ongoing campaign to bring about education and enlightenment about drug issues and awareness so we can save our peers and brighten our future. So thank you so very much. Anything you want to say about this? All right. You're more of the artist and not really so much the talker at this point, right? Okay. I could see a future leader in you, though. So congratulations. Can you go to the front? We'll take a little picture. Go right over there. Family, go with me. On the stage. Your friend. Thank you so very much. Now, one of the most challenging and I would say rewarding applications we do as a district is the State School of Character recognition through character.org. This recognition requires a lot of data collection, but that data collection is rich and valuable in the fact that it lets us look at what we do well and what we could do better. And I know that Dr. Hoker really championed this, first as principal at Shepherd School, and then as the principal at Madison Park School, and then as assistant superintendent has brought us with this position district-wide. And one of the things that I, as a superintendent, get challenged on a lot of times is when things don't go well, when a student doesn't behave to the level with a peer that doesn't reflect great character. A lot of times people will say, but this is a national school of character, national district of character. How can this happen? Well, that's the valuable thing about this application process. It doesn't mean we're perfect. It doesn't mean we do everything right, but we recognize that, and we have programs in place that this nation recognizes and the state recognizes that we try to make things better. And we don't put character education as a background curriculum that doesn't get looked at. We put it to the forefront, and we find ways to make our schools better, recognizing that we're not perfect, but we have programs in place to grow and to develop and make this a safe learning environment for everyone, faculty, students, and staff, and something that I hope this board and the community can be very proud of. So I'm going to hand it over now to Dr. Hoker, and she's going to take us through the process and tell us a little bit more about our recognized awards tonight. Thank you, Dr. Hoker.
Stay here. Thank you. I'm honored to share with you today the summary details from the applications for state recognition from Old Bridge High School, Memorial, Miller, Shira, Southwood Elementary School, and Old Bridge Township Public Schools as a district in its entirety. The following comments were cited by the state reviewers as exemplary elements of our district applications. Our district has committed to creating a unified vision for social emotional learning and character development through the implementation of the 11 principles. These principles guide our approach and ensure that all students from pre-K through 12th grade are supported in developing essential life skills. Reviewers recognize that we take pride in the fact that our district exemplifies shared leadership, collaborating not just within our schools, but also with parents, support staff, and the community. This approach has allowed us to weave SEL into the very fabric of our students' experiences. During the challenging times of the COVID pandemic, our focus remained unwavering on the whole child. Our commitment to this approach enabled us to close learning gaps, increase AP course participation, and continue to reduce absenteeism as students return to school. At Old Bridge High School, we have integrated the 11 principles by offering workshops that emphasize SEL and restorative practices. These workshops are not just about discipline, they focus on improving student morale and emphasize service learning. Programs such as Project Unified, the Lollipop Shop, Heritage Month recognition, and mock conventions create opportunities for students and staff to engage in meaningful experiences that extend beyond the classroom and build a stronger, more inclusive school community. At the elementary school level, reviewers noted that we engage students in cross-grade level discussions, role-playing, and service activities, all designed to nurture character development. Our youngest students learn from their older peers, fostering leadership and responsibility. Teachers are role models, encouraging self-reflection and emphasizing SEL practices. Restorative circles create a sense of community, empowering students to reflect on their actions, grow from their mistakes, and feel supported by trusted adults. As a district, our efforts reflected the academic achievements of our students and the positive, inclusive climate we have fostered across our schools. We've made character development a key component of both administrative and teacher evaluations, ensuring that our values are upheld and integrated into every classroom throughout our school communities. Through consistent and focused work, we've empowered students to become leaders, emphasizing the importance of self-reflection, teamwork, and personal growth. For all of these reasons, our district exemplifies the ideals that achieve the honor of state recognition. We are developing high-achieving students who are responsible, empathetic, and engaged citizens ready to contribute to the world. Those are all comments and feedback that were part of the applications, the strengths noted in our applications. I'm proud of the work that we're doing and look forward to the next part of this process where we will, for the third time, be considered for national recognition. This is 15 years running. It is something that is not awarded lightly, and there were over 200 schools that went through the process and 98 that received the recognition. So it is a lot of work, but something that I think that for 15 years we've really valued. And as we move into the next process, we will have site reviewers that come and meet with our schools that are participating, and they bring the level of expectation to the next status, and make sure that everything that is in our application is actually in place and working. So that will be in May. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the continuing great work of all of our staff and families that and students that participate in this endeavor.
Madam President,
Go ahead.
I would like to say a few words. I want to say from the bottom of my heart that the character education program here in Old Bridge is fantastic. I've been lucky enough to be part of the process for over 10 years when I served on the board when we first originated this program. And Dr. Hoka has done an extraordinary job. And to teach character to our students who may lack that sometimes in schools goes a long way. And the 11 pillars are so rewarding. And quite frankly, I was very blessed and honored to be able to spend time in Washington, D.C. at the National Press Club when we first received our first National School of Character, or District of Character. And it was such a humbling experience to see Mr. Cittadino and Dr. Hoka up on the stage with peers throughout the country advocating and supporting and showing that the Old Bridge Public Schools have a program which benefits our children and our programs through character education. So I want to say sincerely thank you from the bottom of my heart for advocating such a precious and very inspirational program, because it is making a difference in our children's education and their well-being. Thank you, Dr. Hoka.
Actually, I was going to echo that also. Talking to many of the whole community, because it was a community effort. You had students, you had families, you had staff, you guys had administration. So thank you, for the dedication to this program, and thank you to all the community that helped make this happen. Anyone else? Would you like to continue with superintendent's report?
Sure. I would love to continue with superintendent's report. Okay, so we have 2 items today with two presenters under superintendent's report, and kind of like dribbling into progress towards goals, even though we're adopting the goals. But before we do that, I do want to recognize the students. We had 17 students who recently participated, and 2 of our teaching staff members participated in the Costa Rica trip. Now, the trip to Costa Rica, based upon our student Spanish language development program, is truly amazing. The GLOBE program kind of spread its wings in 2009 after a group of educators from this district went to China to kind of broaden and widen our learning platform for world languages. Because one, we saw the writing on the wall that in 2025 and beyond, that our students are going to be competing. You'll probably see this if you have young people competing for jobs out of your household. You're not competing against people from Old Bridge. You're not competing against people from New Jersey when you go on a job interview anymore. You're competing with people from around the world. And because many of the careers that are out there can be done remotely, can be done internationally, and it's a global competition that you're in. So the more experience you have on a global front makes you more of a better competition in that area. So this was the first endeavor with our Spanish language program, and the teachers that put this together, and Ms. Keeler had it all set, very well planned out program, and it was truly amazing. One of the things I would say is that in all the planning, you plan for everything, and then Ms. Keeler had a family emergency that she wasn't able to go the week before the trip. I was fortunate enough to be able to go and witness what these students were doing. And most people say, like, oh, the students probably went to Costa Rica hanging out on the beach, and, that's far from what it was. Actually, we didn't even see the beach. We did drive past one at 55 miles per hour as my face was against the glass looking like, can't we just stop for a minute? But we weren't able to because of the learning that was going on. These students visited the rainforest, cloud forest, My most rewarding experience in working with the students, everyone participated in it as well, was the working at an animal sanctuary where they had sloths, parrots, monkeys that were either abused, taken in as illegal pets, or injured crossing roadways, and they had to be rehabilitated. And our students did everything from feed them, bathe them, clean their cages, mend their cages, and coming away with it that it was a service learning as well as learning about languages and so forth. There's a lot of ecology that goes on there, and I think the students did an amazing job with that, and hopefully have experiences that will be very rewarding for a lifetime. In the next few months, our students will be going in the exchange program with Germany. Our German students were already here. Our students will be going back. Our students will be going to Germany. We've already had a France trip that took place, and I believe Italy is in the works for this school year as well. So again, our students are learning on a global platform, and the only district I know that around that does that with all the languages that we present. We do have a China program as well with Mandarin. So thank you to everyone who makes that possible, and thank you to our students who really were great ambassadors to our school district. First, I'm going to go to Susan Nazath. She's a wonderful teacher at the high school. Architectural design is the program that she heads up. And a lot of people think, okay, so you have these world language programs, you have these academic programs, but what about the CTE programs? How are we preparing our students to go out and do hands-on work and work within the trades and work within architecture? And Susan has done a great job as an ambassador to that program. She recently did a presentation and wanted to share with the board some of the work that her and her students are doing. So this is the great opportunity for those board members and members of the public to want to know what programs do we have to reach the needs of students beyond the traditional language arts, math, social studies, and science. So, Ms. Nazath, thank you very much.
Okay, my name is Susan Azat. I've been here at Old Bridge for over 15 years. I graduated from the University of Cincinnati in design, art, and architecture, and then practiced in the field for 12 years. Had a family, 3 kids very close together, and that's when I got into teaching. And so I think that the strength that I bring to the program is the fact that I was in industry, and I try to bring that outside world into the classroom as much as I possibly can. We have 3 levels of the course. The first level, first of all, we use professional software. It's the same software. It's not a school version. It is the professional software of AutoCAD and Rivet are the 2 programs that we use mostly. The AutoCAD is a 2D drafting program, and Rivet is a 3-dimensional modeling program. So the first year we just start out and the kids learn the most important thing about design is how to see things, how to imagine things, how to get your ideas down on paper so that you can hand them to somebody else to have them built. Or maybe you're part of that building process as well. So we sketch. I have drafting tables in my room, and I still make the kids draft, even though in industry it's mostly digital now. Probably 95%, if not higher, digital. Still, those skills of drafting are so important and really help the kids then when they go onto the computers. So the first year I have boards over there that I created for the elective fair that we had a couple weeks ago. And I also, for the package that I presented to you, I've also given this to all the guidance counselors so that they can help their students understand what's in the program and see if there's any spark of interest with the kids. The paper on the right that folds out, it's 11 by 17, that's really focusing on the first year program. That's when the kids are learning the specific skills. We start out with sketching and then drafting, and then we have a bridge unit, and they actually then design their own bridges. And I have, this is an example. They design their own bridges. If you come into the school, I have a lot of the bridges up on the walls and the corridors so kids can see. But they design their own bridges.
They draft them in AutoCAD, print it out, and this year we made them out of basswood, and then we test them and see how strong they are. And this year I had the strongest bridge. We've just started testing, so just one of the classes has tested so far. But I had a design that I'd never had before, and it's in your program. It's the one on the bottom right, and it looks like a very solid. It's hard for you guys to see, but on the sheet, it's the one. No, the other side. Nope. It's only on the board, I guess. It's up on the board. Anyway, the bridges weigh less than a pound, right? And the bridge tester that I have on this bridge couldn't even break it. So first I had one of the smaller boys in the class stand on it. He weighed about 150 pounds, did not break. And then I had a kid that was 260 pounds, and he stood on it, and it held up for a little bit, and then it did break. But that was quite impressive. That's the most, usually we don't get over 75 pounds of load on the bridge, so that was pretty exciting. I've been trying to, with the fair, it's interesting. I'll run into students that are seniors or that have even graduated, and they're in engineering or architecture or design of some sort, and I'll go, why didn't you take my class? And they said, I didn't know it existed. So I've really been trying this year. I think the first impression people have of the class is that maybe it's hard or you need to have some sort of background to take this class, and you do not. I teach you everything. I'll tell the kids, if you're not very good at sketching and drawing, okay, I'm not going to make you excellent at that unless you really, have an interest in it, but you will be better than when you were coming in. Because the idea is to see something, to be able to see it, to see your environment. And even if this isn't a career path, I think it's very much life skills. Because one day you're going to live in a house, you're going to live in an apartment, and it's going to be important for you to understand the space that you're walking into. Can you change it? Can you make it to the way you really want it to be? How do you envision that? How do you get your ideas down on paper and then give them to somebody to build? So we've created, this is my intern, Jack Machete. I just started with interns last year. It's the best thing going. He is amazing. In fact, on the front of your thing and then the letter is from Jack as well, as from a student's point of view, what he felt about the class. But also those drawings on the top are drawings that Jack did himself. He sketched those out this year, and they have now become my classroom logo. But also he's projected them on the wall in the classroom, and he's painting them on the wall right now. So he has been a tremendous asset to the classroom this year. And he loves design. He's one of my strongest students that I've ever had, and it's really not his career path right now, but he has a great interest in it. He might come around. I'm working on him. So we've created a QR code so that the kids can get an idea, and that's what this PowerPoint is. It's just to give them an idea of what the program is about. This first slide shows the bridges. It shows a kid actually building the bridges. They love, I'll tell you, the kids, as much as they like to be on their phones and computers, they love the hands-on activities. So the top drawing is a 3-view, and that's the typical way that you would draw something to hand it to somebody else to build it. It's the same for a block of wood like that is, or a house. You have elevations and floor plans. It's the same concept all the way through. So again, these are the skills that we work on the first year. You can read through this. These are just some of the skills that are involved, and plus the 21st century skills and the STEM classes are, this is very much a part of that. We're getting into now CAD, the level 2 and 3 classes, and you can see the floor plans that we're drawing, and then those two photos on the left are renderings that the kids did. These are from the programs from Rivet, and this is a project we did Mr. Cittadino's house a few years ago. Last year we did the project again, and I have the kids, I assign them a client, and the client is usually an administrator or guidance counselor. And
It's not my real house, everyone. So, but thank you.
but they design the vacation house for the client. They have to go in, get dressed up, interview the client, create a program, have sign-offs on the program, then go with preliminary designs, get sign-offs on the preliminary designs, and then we accumulate the final project in a presentation where all the clients come in, all the work is up on the board, and they're handed a booklet of, it's not really working drawings, it's more like a set of design drawings of floor plans, elevations, sections, and renderings. And this was a student, this was Ms. Fazio's house last year, and this student, again, it's a great story because he, again, was a kid that didn't want this as their career path. And he was so strong in design, and he was going into some sort of tech direction for his career. And then at Christmas time, I got an email from him. He said, "Miss Ann, you're right. I'm going back into architecture." So that was a thrill for me. No sketching. It's a relaxed environment. I love field trips. I love to get the kids out. I've been taking kids down to the World Trade Center for the last 20-some years. It's an amazing job site to see it grow up, and we've had some great trips. I always try with my trips to get into places that the kids couldn't get in on their own. And one year we got into World Trade Tower 1 right before the observation deck opened, and they took us up to one of the transfer floors, which is where the elevators transfer. You walk out, oh my gosh, it's spectacular. Windows floor to ceiling, and we got this great tour. And then she said, "Come on, kids," and we went to the back of the building, which wasn't completed yet, and the kids all got to sign their names in the buildings. So that year, my name is in that building, which was great. These are some of the trips that we've gone on. When we go to the World Trade Center, a lot of times I'll walk over the Brooklyn Bridge because that's something that we study in our bridge unit, and then we have pizza in Brooklyn. But again, it's so much fun. Sometimes I'm taking kids that have never been into New York, and I haven't lost any yet. The photo on the left, Richard Meyer, who is a very famous architect and did the Getty Museum out in LA, which actually was very much in the line of fire, but it survived. Anyway, we went and saw his model museum. It was in Manna up in Jersey City, and it was so exciting. He builds these incredible models, and the kids were very interested, and we had a lot of fun. And as we're walking out, he pulls up in the car, and I thought I was so excited. He got out of the car. He was in a wheelchair. I said, "Could you please talk to the kids for a few minutes?" He insisted on standing up, and he talked to the kids. So they got to hear from a world-renowned architect, and the timing was just perfect. Last year we went to the Natural History Museum, which there was a new addition from a woman architect that was just spectacular. So I haven't planned the field trips yet for this year. Another field trip we do, I work with the architect that does work for the school, and in the spring he'll bring the kids down to his office. So the kids will get to see his office and the way they do the work. He's won all sorts of awards, and he has a really nice, about 20-person firm down in Wall. And then he'll take us on 3 job sites. So again, I think field trips are just, we live so close to so many, people come from all over the world to come to New York City to see the buildings. And but then we took a field trip to the roof when they put in this solar panels. And you can see the crane that got the kids up on the roof, and we walked around the roof and got to see that. And these are just more projects that the kids have done. So, Jack, I don't know if you want to stand up and say anything. I know that's a lot to ask him. He's great.
Hello. So, as Ms. Nazat said, I am Jack Machette. I'm a student that's currently in the program. I am a junior. This program is great. It's very hands-on. It teaches students a lot about a career path that they could be interested in, but they may not know much about. And Ms. Nazat is great at making it a comfortable environment, but you definitely learn more than you think. It's not just like studio architecture and drawings. You don't have to have a lot of knowledge, but it definitely creates an interest if there wasn't one. So I always recommend it to students, even if it's not a career path that they're looking into. I'm not looking into going into architecture, but I love this class. I'm extremely interested in it, and I spend every moment that I can in that room working on whatever I can. I love Ms. Nazat. I love all the students in there. I love the environment in the room, and I really think more people should consider it as a class. It adds more than you think.
So, thank you so much. If there's any questions, come by my room sometime, take a look at the boards at your leisure, and thank you very much for the opportunity.
If I can make a comment. Thanks, Mrs. Nazat and Jack. You're truly inspiring, right? The last few words, Jack, that you mentioned, I'm not trying to make this as a career path, but still you want to do it. That's exactly how I think we should think, right? Because these are life skills, in my opinion, right? I'm a technologist, 25 years experience. I don't know how to nail properly, right? So these are really great skills to have as you are so young, and you're really inspiring for the rest of the community and the rest of the students. And thanks, Mr. Cittadino, for such programs. We should encourage a lot like this. Thank you.
I would like to. Okay.
Good, okay. Thank you.
So obviously all the board business that we conduct is super important, but this is awesome. Like I would love to come to our board meetings and hear about what our teachers and our students are doing in the classroom every board meeting. You're clearly very passionate about what you do and obviously very good at it and a great mentor. So I just wanted to say thank you for enlightening us for everything that you do day to day. And I will say, personally, I had my first experience with an architect as we put a new addition on our home, had no foundation whatsoever, had no idea what to expect, and I was blown away by the time, the energy, and the knowledge that went into planning for our home. So what a great opportunity that you're...
Under budget?
So, well, that's what I was going to say next, actually. When I got the bill for the architect, I almost fell over because I'm like, oh, okay. So clearly a very lucrative job for our future students as well. So thank you for presenting all of that.
Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
I was impressed that your intern's a junior, so congratulations. That's awesome. Great job with your public speaking as well. I was going to ask about the bridges. So was this year's bridge like one of your stronger ones, or is there one bridge design that's stronger than the other?
It comes down to the craftsmanship and the amount of glue that they can get in there.
In real life and in class?
We play around with it. It's a West Point Bridge Builder program where they can test bridges out online just to kind of get an idea for their designs, and then they sit and they create their own. But that bridge, and it's on the first board on the left, in the middle on the bottom right, was so different than any design that I've ever had before, and she couldn't even draw it because of the way it was constructed. It was hard for her to draw, and her father is in construction. I'm not really sure what he does, if it's in the field somehow or other, and I think he was helping her, and I couldn't believe how strong it was. We couldn't break it with the tester, and then when Jordan got on it, 260 pounds, and it helped for a second or two, but so it just so depends. I have two bridges that are exactly the same design, because one kid came into the class late, so he used this other girl's design, and they both built the same bridge, and I can't wait to see how they compare when we test them.
Thank you very much. Any other board members have comments?
Thank you for working with us,
Oh,
okay?
It's been my pleasure.
I really appreciate it.
It's been my pleasure. I think you were in the department.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yes, he was.
Yes.
Mr. Solikowski was in the department. Yes.
Huh? I'm a mechanical drawing teacher, old school, okay?
I was too for a while, till the computers came along.
Thank you again.
Oh, you're very
We need people like you.
Thank you, Ms. Nazat. And it just sum it up, it just like yourself and Ms. Hauser and Ms. Weber, who were on the Costa Rica trip, same kind of passion, and that's what we're very wealthy with in this district. We have passionate educators who take their passion and inspire passionate students like Jack, and that's the amazing thing and the reward we could have, and having a comprehensive school district that provides our students with a wealth of opportunities, not just the basics in education. So we're very blessed to have that, and I'm blessed to benefit from having such great educators to work alongside with. Speaking of great educators, Mr. Celentano is now going to lead us into the celebration of Black History Month. This is something that has been celebrated and recognized at school board meetings going back, I don't know, many years, and something that we will continue here. And Mr. Celentano, please let us know as a board and a community what our students are doing and learning.
Thank you, Mr. Cittadino. Good evening. As you know, February is Black History Month. It is a nationally recognized holiday, I should say month, that was recognized by Gerald Ford in 1976 as a celebration of achievements by African Americans and a time for recognizing their central role in U.S. history. As with other holidays and observances, we use the teachable moments of Black History Month to continue building the skills and knowledge students need to prepare for their future. So these are some examples of what our schools around the district are doing to commemorate the month. In our elementary schools, students learn about African American figures in history and then complete projects demonstrating what they have learned. These here are from Carpenter School, done by Mrs. Lynch's 5th grade students. Students read multiple biographies to conduct research, and the final projects include maps and timelines and final copies of their essays. The 5th graders at Cooper School are working on creating PowerPoint presentations for Black History Month. They choose a person of interest and are working in groups. These biographies require students to conduct research, and each slide they create focuses on important biographical information. When all groups are finished, they will share what they've learned about the chosen person by showing their presentations to the class using the smartboard in front of the classroom. And you can see each of these areas have a little tab, so it goes into depth, not just a basic biography, but into specific areas, such as their achievements, their legacy, and even their personal life. At Memorial School, kindergartners learned various African Americans and their contributions to history. These first graders and kindergartners created mini Ruby Bridges booklets and completed math pages. 4th graders at Memorial were each assigned a leader in Black history to learn. They made flipbook projects to share what they've learned. And here are 5th grade students creating the front page of a newspaper with interview questions, quotes, and other facts about historical figures. For this 2nd grade, actually that's the 5th grade? Yeah, there we go. Okay. For this 2nd grade activity in celebration of Black History Month, Madison Park students learned about Mae Jemison, the first African American woman to travel into space. They read books about her life and achievements, exploring her journey and inspiring accomplishments. To complete the activity, students created a craft and a writing piece to visually represent what they learned about Mae and her groundbreaking achievements. Their finished work is on display in the hallway so that other Madison Park students can learn about this important figure in history. 3rd grade Madison Park students explored the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and delved into his teachings. Inspired by his message, each student created a vibrant and imaginative arm and hand to represent their individuality and the importance of learning together. These colorful hands were proudly displayed on a bulletin board alongside portraits of notable Black Americans they've been studying throughout February, celebrating both their uniqueness and the shared journey of learning. And 4th graders at Madison Park are diving into an inspiring research project learning about influential Black leaders who have made significant impacts on history. Through their studies, they are exploring the lives and legacies of these leaders, gaining deeper understanding of their contributions to society. This project encourages students to appreciate the power of leadership, resilience, and community while inspiring them to make a difference in their own lives. And there it is on the bulletin board in Madison Park. And the Old Bridge High School's Black Student Union collaborated with fifth graders to celebrate Black History Month through engaging and interactive experiences. Things like they shared were a Kid President video on Martin Luther King Day, showing a Black History Month video, and playing Black History Bingo, and creating PowerPoints highlighting their contributions in academics, athletics, and the arts. And as we move into our middle schools, you can see the projects and presentations become more complex in their research and writing. These projects by Mrs. Greenwood and Mrs. Simon at Salk School, who infuse historical figures in Black history with informational text and literature. Students wrote open-ended responses comparing different themes and ideas. And Salk School also infuses Black History Month with their school-wide Battle of the Blocks competition, in which they hold a poster contest, which you can see on the right-hand side. Students researched and created posters about famous African Americans that will be displayed later this month. They will then vote on which ones were the most interesting, and the winners will earn points for the team in the Battle of the Blocks competition. On the other side, you have at Sandburg School, Mrs. Bracken's 8th grade civics class. It is intentionally set up that the Civil Rights Unit happens during Black History Month, and they learn about the major events of the Civil Rights Movement, along with other civil rights movements throughout American history. And as we move into high school, we recognize Black History Month across the curriculum, from English to history, even business and personal finance. This month is also recognized in school-wide activities. And social studies courses do deep research dives on Black history topics and must cite on sources on the research they do. Here is Mrs. Hessian's US 2 class, where students created mock Instagram posts on Black Americans, such as Jennifer Bryant Howroyd, the founder and CEO of Act One. The English Honor Society created an interactive bulletin board of famous African American authors. Each poster has a QR code that students can scan, and it will go into further details about the individuals that they were looking into. And in the high school, we also have in our English 4 CP students, they explored the Harlem Renaissance, focusing on the impact of theater during that era. After watching a series of videos and defining key terms and collaborating in small groups to create a timeline, students designed Canva posters showcasing displays that debuted during the Harlem Renaissance. Each poster highlighted the play's significance and its impact on the time period, and then these students then presented their work into the class, sharing their ideas and their insights and their analysis. And finally, we have Mrs. Mondano's AP Language and Composition class. Students are participating in a synthesis dinner party. In this creative project, students research and take on the role of famous civil rights leaders. Some students will portray guests at the party, others are going to be the hosts. The hosts read and annotate texts that highlight rhetorical choices and purpose of the authors. They then use information to drive dinner conversations that they have with their guests. So the topics focus on the success of the civil rights movement and how much progress we have made as a country toward equality. All students will write one-page essays on their experience, and the dinner party is scheduled for later this week. But these are some pictures from last year's party with some of our students. You can see them with their projects that they worked on and wrote on their own. Mrs. Mondano actually springs for a little food in there to make it a real dinner party situation in which they all sit at tables and have these dinner conversations. So in closing, I'd like to recognize two things. First, the creativity and hard work of our teachers and the work that they put into their lessons. We are very lucky to have a staff that we have. Secondly, you can see the pattern of student learning in these projects. From kindergarten to grade 12, students are learning how to research, write, and read about topics. As they move from grade level to grade level, they learn more about skills and techniques to help them better understand the world around them. Skills that are important as they move into their college and careers, and also become strong American citizens who can think independently. So thank you very much, and have a great night.
Thank you, Mr. Solitano. Just before I conclude the superintendent's report, just in the recognition, I'd like to really congratulate Ms. Kelly and Ms. Chin, both of which were teachers when I was an administrator at Salk School. And our math department is going to be really pushed to try to find educators to replace them. And they didn't just give to math. They were also very involved in the arts and student life there. So excellent teachers who really benefited our students. So congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you very much. Progress towards goals. The progress is we have goals. We're hoping to do them, have them approved later on this evening. It was a great meeting with the public to develop the goals. Does any other board member want to discuss that meeting at all? Cool. All right. So any correspondence?
None to report.
Okay. Special committee reports?
Just as a reminder, we have a committee of the whole meeting for finance shared service long-range planning. It'll be Thursday, February 20th at 6 p.m. and we'll be discussing the budget and other school financial operations. Thank you.
Food service, or do you want to give a report to the public on the food service meeting again? Just swing it.
We had a food service meeting, I forgot when it was, last week? 2 weeks ago? Whatever. We had the Aramark team there. They provided us with some food. We went over the, now every school in our district is now receiving breakfast services. We talked about what we would like on our RFP for the new food service company coming. I think our RFP comes out this month.
In the spring.
And that's really it. We didn't set a new date yet, right? We didn't set a new date. I think we're going to wait until, I don't know when we're going to wait. But yeah, that was really it. It was a really productive meeting.
If I can add a point to that. I wasn't there personally, but I did get some feedback. We have increased our vegetarian options because that's something which, I requested for and some of the community members requested for earlier. So now we have increased our vegetarian options for the kids. And also importantly, during the month of Ramadan, where the Muslim community undergo fasting through the day, I think I saw some options to take home, the food. So these are really fantastic options, provided by the schools. So I just want the public to be aware of them.
Yes, Aramark is coming out with during the month of March, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Students will have the opportunity to pick what they would like for lunch that day.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, before they go home, they'll be able to pick up their meal and take it home
Nice.
and be able to eat it after, which is, I mean, me personally, I think it's a great thing.
Absolutely.
I think that's something new too. I don't think they've ever done that before.
Okay.
I think that's a state initiative, but
Oh, is it? Oh,
yeah,
so I
but
don't-
it's brand new this year.
Oh.
It's
Yeah, the
it's great
state
for-
the state did put a waiver out there, but it's the first time it's ever been done. So every FSMC, which is a food service company across the state, can opt in if you choose to do so. But again, it's coordinating with Aramark, so they have to put the work into get it all together. So
Yeah. Right. Aramark was working towards fulfilling any opening and vacancies staffing wise. So I know that's an ongoing thing. Marjorie, do you have nothing? All right. Anyone else?
Madam President, I
Go
would
for
like to ask David Wydell to plan on having a Buildings, Grounds, Transportation, and Technology Committee meeting for the second or third week of March. I understand there's a lot of coordination because there's going to be a lot of different people in the room, so I'd like to put that request in, and we can vet it out. Please schedule for Tuesday or Thursday so that we stay consistent with trying to keep the nights the same. Thank you, sir.
Jen, do you want me to do the Middlesex County now or in? Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. So Elena and I share the position of being the delegates to the Middlesex County School Board Association, and they had a virtual meeting on Friday. On the 6th, which was a Thursday. And it was a long meeting. It was a little over an hour, a lot of speakers. I'm just going to give you some of the highlights. One of the main guests for this meeting, it was a virtual meeting, was Senator Vin Gopal. But they opened the meeting, just welcoming everybody, and then talking about, first of all, reminding people that on March 26th, Unsung Heroes event is going to be here at Old Bridge High School. It's the 39th anniversary of the event. It's a student recognition dinner. All districts were invited, and any questions, people can reach out to Karen Callahan or Sharon Miller at the Middlesex County SBA. They also reminded all new school board members that they have 90 days to attend the new board member orientation. And this year, the new board member on-site weekend orientation program is going to be from February 21st to the 23rd at the Crown Plaza Conference Center in Princeton. They're going to have large and small group sessions, and they're going to include topics such as school law, policy, student achievement, school finance, labor relations, advocacy, school board ethics, board superintendent relationships, and responsibilities of a board member. You can also do it virtually, but this is the weekend that they have scheduled. Also on January 30th, the Assembly and State honored the New Jersey School Board Association and New Jersey Local School Boards of Education through a joint legislative resolution commemorating the School Board Recognition Month. Basically, the resolution reads, in part, New Jersey local boards of education play an essential role in improving the quality of life for all students, overseeing some 580 districts, operating 2,500 public schools to provide a robust array of services to nearly 1.4 million young people. And the tremendous work accomplished by local boards of education has helped make New Jersey a national leader in student achievement, and the selfless men and women who serve on these boards further appreciated for the countless hours they devote without remuneration to the oversight of school operations. Then our school board rep, Marianne Friedman, spoke, and she talked about facilitating goal-setting sessions with school boards, ethics, superintendent search information, and superintendent searches. She talked about the newly revised board member self-evaluation. Also, she encouraged everyone to attend the Unsung Heroes Award Night at Old Bridge High School. And also she reminded us that the Equity Expo conference is coming up on April 11th, and she encouraged everyone to attend. Then Senator Vin Gopal talked about a few things, but the thing he talked about mostly was the bill he's introduced into the state Senate, 3917, and it's related to the school funding formula, which I know is important to us. We went to Trenton to try to advocate for things that are in his bill, and the bill makes several changes to school funding law. It modifies the method of determining the tax levy growth limitation for school districts, and it revises components of educational adequacy report. And the bill also makes changes to the school aid, including the local tax levy cap, extraordinary special education aid, and vocational expansion stabilization aid, and establishes reduction of adjustment aid. The bill also includes certain additional requirements for the issuance of the educational adequacy report. He talked a lot about the different aspects of the bill that he's trying to introduce, and he also discussed, they were also looking at improving upon existing preschool funding methodology. He talked about that many school districts are spending upwards of $150,000 to $200,000 on students for out-of-district placement, or sometimes even more if they have to settle like litigation or lawsuits. And this bill would also make it imperative to start the process of getting funding from about 68% of reimbursements to 100%, trying to take it out of local school districts. The bill also provides for gradual phase-in of funding of extraordinary special education aid over the span of 5 years. One major part of the bill that I know that we're all interested in is pushing back the calendar so that districts aren't scrambling at the end of February to try to make their budget work, because currently the governor puts out the numbers at the end of February, and the bill pushes the deadline back to May to give districts time to put budgets together. The bill's working its way through the Senate, and there are other things that he talked about, but that's the bulk of it. He took questions from participants, And it was a long meeting, but it had a lot of information, and it was very, very good for board members.
Thank you. David, could you imagine if you had till May to do the budget? You might get some sleep at night. The student life meeting, which is athletics, extracurricular, care, and DEI, is going to be on the 27th. Since the athletics and extracurricular weren't touched as much last year, we're going to start with those, and then depending on time, go into the care and DEI. So that meeting is the 27th. Anything else on special committee reports?
Yeah, on February 25th, there's going to be an online CPAG meeting. The topic is going to be preparing for an IEP meeting. That's Tuesday, the 25th at 7 p.m. via Zoom. And then on March 20th, SEPTA is going to have a meeting, and they're going to be in the Old Bridge High School Learning Lab. And the topic of that meeting is going to be planning for transition to adulthood, and that's going to be presented by the ARC of New Jersey.
Thank you. Okay, we'll open the mic up for hearing of residents on any agenda item only. Okay, seeing none, we'll close the mic. There's nothing in policy. We'll move to curriculum and professional development. Can I have a motion?
Francisco will move.
Dunlop second.
Any?
I had a question.
Go for it.
I noticed that the list and the writers list was pulled. I got a few inquiries, and I reached out to Mr. Wydell. If you could just publicly I know it's going to come back on the agenda, but some people confused why it was pulled. I think it was a timing issue you mentioned.
For the Dr. Tui there.
Yes. So the postings for those positions closed on Friday due to the fact they weren't in school on Monday to get the names. That's why it was pulled. It will be on in March, with including all the names for all the curriculum writing for the remainder of the school year.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Giordano,
Yes.
Jodry,
Yes.
Mazzone,
Yes for 1, 2, and 4, no on 3.
Slade,
Yes.
Solokowski,
Yes.
Venkatesan,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Francisco,
Yes.
Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 4 for curriculum and professional development passes.
Finance, items 1 through 11. Can I have a motion, please?
Jodry will move it.
Second.
Francisco will second.
Any discussion?
Madam President, I'd like to separate item 5 for discussion and vote, please.
Okay. So, any discussions on items 1 through 11 with the exception of 5? Can we have a roll call on items 1 through 4 and 6 through 11, please?
Okay. Jodry,
Yes.
Mazzone,
Yes.
Slade,
Yes.
Solokowski,
Yes.
Venkatesan,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Francisco,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 4 and 6 through 11 pass.
Okay. Mr. Dunn, item 5.
Yes, I just want to bring to light that this Board of Education is a $160 million corporation, and that, keeping its books straight is a very, very difficult endeavor. And quite frankly, I'd like to just highlight the facts that this Board of Ed, over the years, especially in 2024, did a remarkable job with balancing their books and making sure things were spent wisely and that there were no discrepancies within the audit process. And all too often, people are out there, saying that the Board of Ed knows where the money is, they're hiding money, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're doing things scrupulously. And I just wanted to highlight the fact that our auditor was here, and he made it very clear that David Cittadino and David Wydell and the entire administration are doing a fantastic job in managing our money and books. So all too often, people are out there criticizing about the Board of Ed spending money and not spending it wisely. This audit does take precedence. It does go through the process. It goes through the numbers, goes through the books, goes through expenditures. It goes through every aspect of our financial aspect. And I'm happy to say that we were presented with a very clean and appropriate audit. And I just want the public to understand that there is no misuse of funds, there is no issues that are concerning, because the audit, which is dictated by the Department of Education, was done, and it's been done in a way where it dissected and looked at the entire process very closely. So I want to say thank you to David and David for ensuring that our books were clean and that things were done appropriately, and people should feel rest assured that our team is doing a fantastic job in managing the money. Obviously, we know what we were confronted with last year with sequestration and needed to raise taxes, but we're spending money wisely and it's being done correctly. So I just wanted to highlight that to the public so they understood, because all too often people are out there pointing fingers saying things are being done inappropriately. So congratulations to the team who worked very hard on that, and I appreciate the hard fiduciary responsibility that you show. Thank you.
Any other discussion on item 5?
Just want to add a few more comments. Like Mr. Dunn mentioned, right? Last week I wasn't here, but I heard when I was watching online, I saw the gentleman come up to the stage, and then he very thoroughly, gave a feedback, and he did highlight that there are no findings. So that's very important, I think. I'm not sure if the same audience are watching today. They should clearly know if they want to go back to last week's recording. There is a very good, speech by that gentleman highlighting the process itself, and then there are no findings, etc. And I'm not sure, Mr. Vidal, if any of that report will be available online, so anybody who's curious can.
Once it gets approved, it does have to get posted to our website.
Okay.
So,
Perfect.
and all our audits are on there, all our budgets are on there under the finance. I can get the specific location, but they do
Sure.
have to get posted online.
Okay, thank you.
And, again, bringing it up to the public, I was just asking Mr. Sitta, do you know how long it's been? So he said as long as he's been superintendent, there's been a clean audit. So that's to be congratulated to the whole administration office as a whole.
I just want to, add that Mr. Mara and Mr. Whitell play a huge part in that, but we have
That's why I
not.
said the whole thing.
Yeah, I know we have not had any findings since the change in administration. That was the last time.
Thank you very much. Last call for discussion on that topic. All right, roll call, please.
Jodry,
Yes.
Mazzone,
Yes.
Slade,
Yes.
Solakowski,
Yes.
Venkatason,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Francisco,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolution number 5 for finance passes.
One thing I do, which is an add on that, because many people think it's just financials they look at. They also look at enrollment. And when there was concerns about the district funds and finances, there was concerns about what was the enrollment accurate, and was the district doing its part to report accurate enrollment. Something the auditors do look at is our enrollment, to make sure that it's accurately being reported as well. And once you become on and you become board members and you be accurate and you work in education realm, you see there's no really any way to fudge enrollment. Every student in New Jersey is assigned one number, like a Social Security number. The number can't show up in two districts at the same time. If a student leaves Old Bridge and goes to Monroe, on arrival at Monroe, that number goes into the system, and Monroe gets credit funding-wise for that number. I can't keep that number here and say, well, the student is still here, because it sets off a red flag within the student audit process and says, well, the student can't be in two places at one time. One of you is not being accurate. So that's a check and balance that's in there, but it's also done through the audit process as well.
The audit process is very thorough, time-consuming, but ultimately what it does is it gives the snapshot and the overall picture of how you're doing financially. And while we wish we had all the income coming in, the revenue coming in, we can only spend the money that comes in, and we have to be smart with those expenditures, as Mr. Dunn spoke to. Of course, we want more state aid and more, all the revenue sources we can get, but we can only do what we're limited to do. And with that money, we have to, there's chart of accounts, which I'll go over coming up in our finance meeting. There's certain things that we have to follow. The state makes it pretty, structured as far as what to follow and what to do. So it's a time-consuming process. It is a lot of work. It's very thorough. But ultimately, when you get a clean audit with no findings, it's pretty rewarding at the end. So thank you to everyone for the kind words.
Okay. As we move on to athletics, item number 1, can I have a motion, please?
Giordano motion.
Second.
second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mazzone,
Yes.
Slade,
Yes.
Solikowski,
Yes.
Venkatesan,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Francisco,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Childry,
Yes.
Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolution 1 for the athletics passes.
We don't have anything for non-certificated personnel this office. Non-certificated personnel operational, item 1. Can I have a motion, please?
Francisco will move.
Ms. Almost second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Solikowski,
Yes.
Venkatesan,
Sorry, I had one question on this.
Sure.
Sorry.
I just came up to my mind right now. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
So I see this is a kind of a long duration, right? How did we manage the absence of the particular staff? Because this seems to be a medical condition, right? So we're having a temporary staff to.
I'll defer to Dr. Hoker.
It's covered by the remaining staff that we have in the district.
Okay, thank you.
Are you okay to continue your vote?
Yeah, yes.
All right.
Sorry.
Venkatesan,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Francisco,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Childry,
Yes.
Mazzone,
Yes.
Slade,
Yes.
Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolution 1 for non-certificated personnel operational passes.
Okay. For non-certificated personnel other, items 1 through 4. Can I have a motion, please?
Dunn will second.
Who moved? Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Venkatesan,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Francisco,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Childry,
Yes.
Mazzone,
Yes.
Slade,
Yes.
Solikowski,
Yes.
Dantuno. Resolution 1 through 4 for non-certificated personnel other passes.
For certificated personnel, we have items 1 through 20. Can I have a motion, please?
Dunn will make a motion, Madam President.
Ms. Almost second.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Go for it.
I would like to welcome to the Old Bridge family Stephanie Parson, Old Bridge High School long-term sub guidance counselor, Debbie Forgetti, long-term sub Carl Sandberg nurse, and Rachel Mazza, Shepherd physical education teacher. And we have Miss Parson here today. So do you want to go through the vote first and then we'll have her up for our obligatory picture, or do you want to? Okay. So you get to come up for a picture.
Thank you for joining the Old Bridge team.
I'm excited. It actually was awesome being here because you guys have some of the great programs and initiatives, like a lot of inclusivity. I love this with everything you had going on. I'm excited to be part of it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Take a picture of Scott. Right. That's fine. Right in front of me. Yes.
Welcome aboard.
Any other discussions on items 1 through 20?
Yes, Madam President, I'd like to discuss number 10. This grant money is fantastic. It's going to help fill a void, Play Unified, and it's something that's very close to my heart and others on the board. And it's something that I just want to highlight because it helps children who have challenges, and the socialization that this grant money provides is so indispensable. And it's something that is going to benefit our children, and it's going to go very far. And this program of Play Unified is going to really lead to the next step of enhancing next year and the year after. It's something that we feel is appropriate to give children of that nature an avenue to really socialize and be involved in a sport or a club. That being involved in a practical environment, being involved in a simulation goes a long way in molding and helping these children. And I am very happy that the OBEA and everyone is working together to make this happen. So with that said, I'm very grateful for the grant, and I'm hoping that we can build on this grant money for 25-26 and then 26-27, because it does make a difference, and And, I just want to say this is a great thing for Old Bridge, and there are board members here who are going to make sure that this gets done year after year, provided the money is there. And we know that the benefits outweigh the situation that we're at. So thank you.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of build on what he said. If you haven't been to a unified game, go. I know that Christina's gone, Elena's gone, I've gone, and they're great games. So if you haven't been to a game, it's a great experience. So I would say go and support them.
Any other discussion on any of the items? Roll call, please.
Dunn,
Yes, absolutely.
Francisco,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Jodry, Mazzone,
Yes.
Slade,
Yes.
Solokowski,
Yes.
Venkatesan,
Yes.
Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 20 for certificated personnel passes.
Non-certificated personnel transportations, items 1 and 2. Can I have a motion, please?
Jodry will move.
Francisco will second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Dunn,
Yes.
Francisco,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Jodry,
Yes.
Mazzone,
Yes.
Slade,
Yes.
Solokowski,
Yes.
Venkatesan,
Yes.
Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 and 2 for non-certificated personnel transportation passes.
For transportations, we have items 1 through 3. Can I have a motion, please?
Mazzone motion.
In a second.
Jodry will second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Francisco,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Jodry,
Yes.
Mazzone,
Yes.
Slade,
Yes.
Solokowski,
Yes.
Venkatesan,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 3 for transportation passes.
For supplies, equipment, and services, we have items 1 through 4. Can I have a motion, please?
Francisco will move.
Kiran will second.
Any discussion?
Yes, Madam President. Number 3, this is a question to David Wydell. Do we have a cost on the bridge replacement or the bridge
So-
repairs?
We are working on the cost of the architect still. Where these came from is this was on a agenda previously, and when we submitted the application to the DOE, they asked that it be in this specific language with this specific state numbering. So these are just we're still in the middle of that process. We're still working on the estimates, but again, it was submitted to the state. They wanted our resolution that we had prior has changed a little bit. It was a model resolution in the past. They want it in this format. So we will get back to you on the estimates once we have them.
Do you think that you'll have the estimates in place before the next Buildings, Grounds, Transportation, and Technology meeting so they can be discussed, or?
We can try. Let me talk to the architects, see where they are on their end, and we'll go from there.
Terrific. Thank you, sir.
We should have Mrs. Nazareth's team build out a bridge for us. It would
I
save
was
us a lot of money.
I was thinking that as I watched these amazing bridges, actually. So.
There you go. Any other discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Giordano,
Yes.
Jodry,
Yes.
Mazzone,
Yes.
Slade,
Yes.
Solokowski,
Yes.
Venkatesan,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Francisco,
Yes.
Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 4, supplies, equipment, and services passes.
Okay. We have miscellaneous, items 1 through 7. Can I have a motion, please?
Mazzone motion.
Jodry will second.
Any discussion?
I would like to discuss number 7.
Go for it.
So I just wanted to thank these high school students who worked the TV studio throughout the year, for us, and I'm sure, throughout the year just for other events. I think you guys do an amazing job, and yeah, so thank you.
Any other discussions on?
Actually, maybe we should recognize them. They've been doing this behind the scenes all through the year. Maybe, whenever time. Yeah.
We do at the final meeting. They all come out
Okay.
when they're all here. So
Okay.
they plan ahead, and Mr. Gajewski takes over the cameras, and they all come out.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Sure. Jodry,
Yes.
Mazzone,
Yes.
Slade,
Yes.
Solokowski,
Yes.
Venkatesan,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Francisco,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
D'Antuno.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 7 for miscellaneous passes.
Board Secretary and Board Business, items 1, 2, and 3. Can I have a motion?
Dunn will make a motion, Madam President.
And a second?
Separating number 3 for voting purposes.
Okay.
Giordano, second.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to read the goals because I think they're important for the public to see and hear them. The board sat together with the public, and our district goals for the remainder of the 24-25 school year and as well as 25-26 is excellence in education to ensure best benchmarks are in place for all students to raise the bar to improve education and academic growth for all students. Fiscal resilience, continue to investigate ways to optimize educational efficiencies. And the whole child, investigate making facilities more inclusive for all students and develop measurements and progress in performance for all students. The board goals for the remainder of this school year and all of next school year. Non-conflicted board members of the board will complete the CSA evaluation within the statutory time frame, which is annually July 1st. Review and revise bylaws and policies throughout the development of the schedule for review. To improve board synergy, i.e. team building, professional development, and possibly a board retreat. Engage in professional development to achieve board certification through NJ SBA Board Member Academy, and work to understand the district's budget through professional development from the business administrator and possibly through the NJ SBA. Marjorie, would you like to read item number 3?
Absolutely. Move the Board of Education reaffirm and approve the following resolution, and this is the inclusion resolution from March 2022. Whereas it is a primary goal of the Old Bridge School District to create schools that are inclusive of all students and the diversity of needs that exist in our region, and we give particular focus to the inclusion of students with disabilities, and whereas our school district believes there is a need for students to have maximum opportunity for access to general education settings, now, therefore, be it resolved that the Old Bridge school system hereby endorses the following inclusive school practices for every child. All students are first and foremost general education students who may require additional supports and services in order to access the school district's programs. All students will have the opportunity to participate with same-age typical peers to the maximum extent that they are able. Opportunities to participate in all school programs, including extracurricular activities and interventions, and the opportunity to apply, try out, audition for selection-based programs and activities shall be accessible to all students regardless of supports and services they receive. School staff will make every effort to use language that describes the person first, people first language when referring to students, families, and programs. Inclusive practices are not a separate component of education, but rather a core ideal that will be present in all of our schools and all district programs. We hold high expectations for growth and development and honor the requirement that students serve in the least restrictive environment. We also hold high expectations for staff and are committed to providing the support and resources needed to help staff uphold these high expectations. The diversity of our community makes everyone better. We celebrate the differences and the ways in which every child adds to the fabric of our school communities. With these inclusive education practices in mind, be it further resolved that the Old Bridge School District celebrates all students and strives to model professionalism, respect, empathy, and high expectations for every student in every setting.
Any discussions on any of those?
Yeah, it sounds like fake news to me, a lot of it. I'm going to vote no on this one.
Any other discussion?
I just want to add a few comments on the district goals and the board goals that we set. So this is something, which we as a board has been working very hard since the beginning of this year. We have been, discussing about it. Jay Slate came up with a few, thoughts around some of it, and I shared, some of it. So this is, I think, to Mr. Dunn's point, coming together and having a good plan in place, right? So that's, I think, we're really achieving this as we are getting started. Especially these are SMART goals, meaning they're specific, they're measurable, and they're actionable, etc. Right? So I know whatever the readout and whatever the documentation here does not say those measures, but I think in the discussion, it was about 3-hour discussion, and thanks to Mr. Ciradino joining us even when he was away in that field trip. So it was a very productive session, those 3 hours. And Dr. Rooker, I think you're taking us forward by defining what's the measure going to look like, etc. So there's really a lot behind these goals that we were able to collectively come together. And I'm very happy to all of us see we are having the board goals as well. It's not only for the district. We as board members also need to be accountable, responsible, and how do we collectively together work on certain goals. So this is all very encouraging. I'm not sure how we should probably communicate this beyond these meetings. We should probably see if we have to send us some kind of a notes or whatever through the school, to the kids or whatever. I don't know. We have to find more ways to disseminate this information beyond this setting, actually. That would be my comment. Thank you.
Any other discussion, conversation?
I just, Mr. Sulkowski, you said it sounded like fake news. Can you give us a little?
I don't want to get into it tonight. I got 2 years to discuss this problem, okay, with this situation. Thank you.
Madam President, as 4.3, we're in the business of education, and all children need to be respected, and they need to be honored in a way where they're given the proper education and services. And we cannot differentiate between children. We need to understand that all children need the services, and we need to do it in a compassionate manner. This is not politics. This is not, the state or federal government. This is education, and we need to make sure that we recognize that every child has the opportunity to be successful and to receive a proper education. So with that said, I will be voting for number 3 because it's the right thing to do for our children, and I will continue fighting for every child, regardless of who you are and what you are.
Any other discussion? Okay, I'm going to respectfully disagree with your opinion. I've seen in the schools the kids that requires extra services be integrated in the classrooms and how they thrive, and the kids don't realize that there's any difference. It's just another friend or classmate and stuff like that. So I do think Old Bridge does this well. So, all right, roll call, please.
Well, we're going to do a
Oh,
roll
on one
call
and
on
two,
1
I'm
and
sorry.
right? 1 and
Roll call on 1 and 2.
So this is
first.
resolutions 1 and 2. Mazzone,
Yes.
Slade,
Yes.
Zolakowski,
Yes.
Venkatesan,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Francisco,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Jodry,
Yes.
Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 and 2 for board secretary and board business passes.
Roll call on item 3, please.
Well, we'll go to voting on number 3. There was a right. Sorry, Mazzone,
Yes.
Slade,
Yes.
Zolakowski,
No.
Venkatesan,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Francisco,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Jodry,
Yes.
Dantuno.
Yes.
Resolution number 3 for board secretary and board business passes.
Hearing of residents on any school district item. The microphone is open. If you're going to speak, there's a binder. Just make sure you sign it. Okay.
Okay.
The binder I forgot to put there, but it's okay.
It's there.
Is it? Okay.
You can sign it afterwards.
Your team members took care of you. Who
You can sign it
put-
afterwards.
I forget who put it out there. Someone did.
Okay. Can you hear me? Hear me? Okay, I took notes because there's just not always time to come to these meetings with youth sports, and I have a lot coming on.
Can you
So
just introduce yourself? I'm sorry.
my name is Brooke Richards Patterson. I'm a parent of a middle school child in the district. So Mr. Wydell spoke at the agenda meeting about the February 25th budget meeting being a closed meeting. And so I did want to just bring up some things as a parent, as a taxpayer.
and just whether it's been, from my own observations or topics that have been brought to my attention by other parents and, stakeholders. So a couple things. One was, I'm sorry. I want to know about summer school in terms of the budget. I did go to a committee meeting for the curriculum, and from my understanding, taxpayers are paying for children to attend summer school rather than their parents. And it was explained it's due to possible parents experiencing hardships. And although that is unfortunate, I do think ultimately a child, that is the adult's responsibility. And I think what was most disappointing, to be honest, was to learn that there is no particular thing that needs to be done in order to pass summer school. It almost seems like a waste of time and money on all parts because they just have to, show up and complete it and call it a day. I don't know that that's really, something that we should be considering in terms of our budget. I also was curious why there hasn't been any further discussion about a contingency plan in lieu of the loss of late buses. I also wanted to know if we've considered raising the rent over where the Cheesequake School is to make up a little bit of funding. Are qualified supervisors who are already on the payroll writing the curriculums, or are we outsourcing and paying somebody else to do it? And if so, how much does that cost? I also, and this is, these are just allegedly, but I would like to know if Dr. Tui promoted himself quietly and family members without going through due process and allowing others the opportunity to interview for the same positions and or promotions, as well as Dr. Sasso. Is there any vetting process as far as these coaches that are getting stipends, or are they just, happen to be unqualified friends of his? And so these are things that, I would love to hear from more than the same Board of Ed member talking over and over and over again, because, we're just paid a lot of money, and I care obviously very much about my child and everybody's children, their education, the quality of it. And I'd like to, be more transparent as far as the where the funds are going and what they're being used for. So that is all. Thank you.
Talk about fake news. Andrew Lewis, OBEA. In regards to some comments regarding the last resolution under board secretary and board business, I don't think the inclusion of students with disabilities in our district is fake news. I think someone's attempt to care about students in the district is. What's fake here? Last month's comments about a food service committee, this month's comments now. So I believe one board member owes an apology to the students and staff of this district for that comment. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll go close the mic for our for hearing of residents.
I'll start the summer school piece. I'm not aware of the summer school piece being financed by the taxpayers, but I'll allow Dr. Tui to speak to that. Anything new on that, Dr. Tui?
So there's no elementary summer school program. In the past, there was a summer school program through the ESSER funds, which is used from the fairly acquired funds by the district. My time's up. In middle school, we've had a summer school program since I think Mr. Citadino has been, was the principal at Salk. That program runs every summer. For the past 2 years, it ran at both Salk and Sandburg. There are qualifications. So a student has to attend a certain amount of the days. There are grades that are allotted. It is project-based. It is during the summer, so obviously most of the students don't want to be there, so we try to make it as interesting as possible. The teachers do a great job, and they should be commended for that. High school, they do online programs, so if you're going to do course advancement, you go through Eduseer or Rutgers Prep. There's also, for the seniors who are in danger of not graduating, Apex. Those are district-funded programs that we have all year round.
Thank you, Dr. Tui. As far as late buses, we did have that conversation. We look at that as we look every week. We get together as an administrative team and go over the district finances, the positions where we're at. As we talked about last week, you know, the administration works at the will of the board as when it comes to the budget. So as we put together a budget for this year, the current year that we're in, the 24-25 school year, we had a very public meeting about what was included in the budget, what was not included in the budget. While it is not an administrative prerogative to just add things to that budget once it's been adopted by the board, we have talked as a board and as administration that if funds in the second half of our fiscal year become available, that is something we would examine. Now, funds to become available would be reliant upon underspending in certain areas and budget lines. One of the budget lines is like in maintenance, and one of the things that we're seeing a lot of this year, while we haven't had, and to the chagrin of many of our students, a dumping storm, we have had a lot of pesky storms. and so the pesky storms do eat up into Plan B, which would be to fund that. Each storm is over $30,000, whether it is an inch or it is 6 inches, because we still have to move the snow and put salt and pre-treatment down. So those things. So those are some of the things we look at as part of a Plan B, an alternative to fiscally funding that. The Cheesequake rental piece, that is a 10-year agreement, at least. We can't, it's like anything else. If you sign a lease agreement for a car or an apartment, you can't, in the middle of it, say, I'm raising your rent. You have to wait until that agreement is up. But at the end of the 10 years, that piece of property, which at that time was valued by realtors at $3.5 million, but we're renting for $5 million and we still own it, will become back to us. We rent it for $5 million over 10 years. That will come back to us as our own district property at the conclusion of those 10 years. Curriculum writing is done by our staff, our very qualified educational staff, and it is overseen and supported through the supervisors and directors there, and then it comes back to our board to review and to vote upon. I won't go into specifics of names because any of our administrative staff members go through the same vetting process, and any recommendations that come out of their office go through the same vetting process, where the recommendations go to a panel of board members who sit on the personnel committee, and only after those board members agree that those names should go forward onto this here agenda, that at that point do 9 independent people then vote for them. So it's not an administrative decision made by a doctor of randomness that was brought up that could just say, hey, I want that person hired, and that person just gets hired. It doesn't get done until this party of 9 votes upon it. So that would be my answer to those questions. And closing public.
Okay. So for any of the board, any old business?
Yes. Okay.
Do you want to go first?
I have a couple things. One, I wanted to say that on January 30th, we went to the Chinese Honors. We were invited to the Chinese Honor Society, their New Year's celebration. We had great food. The students put on some great performances, and all in celebration of the Lunar New Year 2025, the Year of the Snake. So thanks for inviting us. On Thursday, 2/13. Board members and administration were invited to join a town hall hosted by Old Bridge High School, Salk, and Sandburg peer leaders, as well as elementary character ambassadors, to discuss their school experiences and engage in discussions around improving policies and protocols in schools. We shared lunch with them, and afterward we had the opportunity to chat with the students. It was an amazing experience to hear directly from the students about things that are important to them. And we're going to meet again in March to continue the conversation, but I wanted to say thank you to the teachers who work with our student peer leaders in the high school. It's Mrs. Fiorentino at Salk, Mrs. Riley and Mrs. Whitman, Sandberg, Mrs. Fargione and Miss Rivera, and elementary is Miss Pachoki. I also wanted to say congratulations to all the students in Southwood who competed in the 3rd annual Jeopardy tournament, especially to the first and second runners-up, Luke and Ryan, and the Jeopardy champ, Lucas. The students all demonstrated their impressive depth of knowledge and facts in a broad range of categories, and it was a lot of fun. I know a few of us went, and the students were excited to cheer on their peers, and I wanted to thank Principal Foley and the judges for inviting us. And that's all I have. Oh, also congratulations again to Amia. And that's all I have to say.
Well, I let you go first, but you said a lot of things I was going to say, but okay.
We should have done it together.
So, okay. I'll be quick. I won't harp on anything. So I just want to say that, again, I kind of said this before, but like, yes, this is, of course, our board business and what's most important, but my favorite part is being inside the schools with our students and with our staff. Definitely the most fun. So on January 29th, I went with Christina to the Unify game at the high school, which was awesome. And a lot of these things that I'm attending are the first time that I'm attending them, so I don't know what to expect. And it was filled with not only basketball, it was a basketball game with our students interacting and supporting each other and cheering each other on. There was dancing, the mascot was there, the cheerleaders were cheering and dancing.
Stella got involved.
Stella picked up the pom-poms. I mean, their next 2-year-old OBHS cheerleader on the way. It was awesome. It was very uplifting. So I'm going to try to get to as many of those games as possible. And like Ms. Georgia had said before, I encourage all of you to go as well. I also had the opportunity to attend the town hall with very many of our board members. Also a really neat experience seeing our students really speak up for what they believe is best for the student body after, discussing what concerns they wanted to bring to us. And I think that a lot of them were actually reasonable and some even doable. So I was pleasantly surprised. So I know that all of us are definitely going to work on that. I sent an email to all of the teachers that you named just to say thank you. Awesome job bringing our students together to speak up. Southwood Jeopardy was awesome. I did know a lot of those answers, Ms. Foley, but I'm not as quick as your students. Like, they were fast. So that was super fun to watch too. It was like, are you smarter than a 5th grader? And I don't know, I think they had me beat. And then tomorrow I will get to attend the OBHS trip around the world. That'll be my first time, so I'll let you know how that goes. So thank you for inviting me and all the other board members into your buildings and your classrooms, because that's, like I said, my favorite part. So thank you.
Anyone else for old business?
Yeah.
Go.
Yes. So as we discussed last week, I was ready to vote no on the curriculum writing, and I'm prepared to do that next month. I know that was brought up. And we just don't have the money. Last year, we were going to see if we did have the money to do it, and that's why we were questioning it, but we definitely don't have the money, so I won't be voting on that next month. Only because I only mentioned that because it was brought up in the public comments. Thank you.
Any other
I have
old
something to
business?
say. Yep. So going back to the State School of Character, I would like to personally congratulate each of the schools who received that award. I would like to congratulate Dr. Payton over at Memorial, Dr. Giles at Miller, Dr. Sasso at Old Bridge High School, Dr. Lowery at Shara, Dr. Foley at Southwood, and Mr. Rezes at Salk. Every administrator in our district, they really do such a great job with all the students. And to receive this award from the state, and I know they go out to national now, it's a very accomplishing award for them. And I think a lot of the times their job goes unnoticed. So I just wanted to congratulate all of them and just all the schools who received it. So thank you to all the administrators in our buildings for making our schools great for our kids. Thank you.
For the old business, as far as the student town hall, we have all the questions. It's in our board folder. I'd like each committee to kind of break down what of students' questions apply to them, and so that can also be part of our committee discussions. And as was said during the event, the students were asking questions not only for them, but for their peers, which was really great. The vegetarian options during lunch, and even just like the snack bar at lunch. Like, they don't want just chips; they want fresh fruit and things like that. Healthier snacks. So that was really cool to see. On that note, any new business?
I have one thing. Before I said that the SEPTA meeting was going to be in the Old Bridge High School Learning Lab, but it's now going to be virtual. The Arc of Monmouth is presenting it, but it will be a virtual presentation, and information on that will be available soon.
Yes, I have something.
Go ahead.
The Old Bridge Education Foundation is back at it again. For those of you who don't know, it's a local foundation. It's been around a lot of years. I've been a part of it for the last 4 years. We raise money to give grant money back to teachers and staff. Last 2 years, we gave out about $15,000 worth of grant money. So the recipients are very happy. It applies to supplies and things that they don't have to put their hands in their pocket for. An email is going to go out to parents. We did this 2 years ago. It was a Lucky Charms campaign. Raised about $1,000 2 years ago. I'll read a little snippet of the flyer that's going to go out. Is there a teacher, a para, a noon hour supervisor, a nurse, secretary, any school staff member that goes above and beyond for your child? Then tell the Old Bridge public school staff member how lucky you are to feel you have them in your child's life. The teacher or staff is going to get a digital certificate with the child's name that nominated them. So again, it's a Lucky Charms campaign. It's a great way for parents to recognize the teachers. Little name, little bonding between the student and the staff. And again, those funds will go towards the foundation, which will go back to the staff and teachers in the form of a grant. So look out for that email. Thank you.
I got no business.
Sure.
Yes. So as I said earlier, we'll be having our budget meeting on Thursday. Everyone keep your eyes open. I'm glad to hear that State Senator Gopal is introducing a bill that Mr. Odry mentioned during the special committee reports. I'll be keeping an eye on that, and I'll be sending them my opinions and what I like, what I don't like. But I'm glad something's being introduced. So thank you for bringing it up, and thank you for Mr. Gopal for introducing it. Thank you. Hopefully it'll get passed or discussed quickly. 3917 Senate. So S3917. Thank you.
Any other new business?
I'm not sure if this is new business, but it was spoken about, I believe, last week, about having a charity sporting event. And, I'm looking very much for it. I think it's going to be a great team building event. And I think whatever monies we can raise, we can put towards the senior scholarships. So I just want to make sure that
You don't want it to fall off the edge. You
that's
want to make
correct.
sure it happens.
That's correct. So I'm not sure if I don't remember when it was spoken about last week, but I just want to keep it fresh in everyone's mind because I'm looking forward to it, and I think it'll be a very admirable thing to do to raise money for a scholarship based upon the 9 board members are here. That would be a terrific thing.
Have we picked a sport as a board?
So that was my idea. I'm thinking volleyball. I think it's maybe the least, the least, I guess, contact.
Not kickball?
What?
Not kickball?
I mean, I would love to do dodgeball, but I don't know if we're allowed to do that.
They might pay to be spectators more. Yeah.
So I want to actually work with Adam to start planning that out and seeing who we can get involved with that. The proceeds that we raise from that, I would like it for it to go to a student that's currently in the school, because we have the senior awards night and so many of the seniors who are leaving do receive scholarships. I like to keep it someone, who's in district, in school, see how we can help somebody. So I will be reaching out to Dave and Dave Squared.
That's not going to fall to the wayside. There's a few people I need to spike, so we're going to be good.
Same.
I just want to thank, Board Member Mazzone for coming up with a great idea, because I can tell you back in 2015, we had a softball game against the town council, and it was very gratifying when we beat them pretty good. And so we'll have some sort of event to put towards your suggestion of helping a student within the system currently, which is a very admirable thing to do. So I appreciate the good gesture there, Ms. Mazzone. Thank you.
I had something for new business. The Equity in Education came across our emails from the School Board Association. So I worked with some of the administration and Ms. Jodry, and I just wanted to share with the public what I wrote as far as our essay to be considered one of the award winners. And it was like, I think it was just on what is, equity in education for, for your district. So for Old Bridge Township Public Schools, equity in education is not a project, it's a culture. By having a comprehensive culture, Old Bridge Township Public Schools strives to give every student a reason to come to school by addressing diverse learning needs, fostering an inclusive environment for all students, and providing course offerings from special education to trades to college level courses. We have something for everyone. The Old Bridge Township Public Schools Special Education provides a continuation of services and prioritizes inclusion throughout the 15 buildings from pre-K through 12th grade students, ensuring that they all receive the supports they need in a least restrictive environment, including the inclusion classrooms, ICR, RP, LLD, MD, and ABA. Old Bridge Township Public Schools have the opportunities available such as Play Unified, Life Skills Lab, a transition program which includes a ShopRite in our high school for the students to work and other students and staff to purchase from. The district's MTSS framework, multi-tiered support systems. Sorry, there was like a limit on characters, so we were doing as much as we could in one thing. Framework implemented K through 12 employs data analysis at various levels, district, school, grade, and individuals to identify and address student groups. The data is discussed and analyzed monthly at every school and at administration levels. This data-driven decision-making process encompasses academic performance, social-emotional well-being, mental health, discipline, and attendance. The Title I programs provide supplemental instruction outside of the traditional school day classroom. The district embraces technology to support low-income families by providing hotspots for students without internet access and lower insurance rate for devices. Mental health initiatives are ongoing, including CBT and DBT training for counselors to address anxiety-based issues and emotional regulations for students, including ESS provides therapeutic services for students with intensive psychiatric needs. Attendance coordinators are in place to foster positive interactions with families of students exhibiting chronic absenteeism and prioritizing home-school collaboration. The students are connected to the world through our various culture-driven programs, Rooted in Culture, a program that connects high school culture clubs with the elementary schools. District participation in the New Jersey Stride, which focuses on hiring diverse staff representing the demographics of our students. Multiple world languages taught to students from K through 12 grades and study abroad opportunities. The district ensures pocket translators are available at all schools for the multilanguage learners, while the Title III and Title III immigrant programs offer public professional development and training for staffs. With over 8,000 students, every student needs a reason to walk in the door. At elementary level, there are 10 clubs, middle school has 30 clubs and 38 different sports teams, while high school offers 80 clubs and 70 sports teams. All levels have inclusive instrumental and music programs. The course offering book at the high school is another example of how every student is supported. There are CTE classes such as auto shop, woodworking, cosmetology, TV production, culture classes such as minority literature, conscious of humanity, early college and dual enrollment programs. These programs challenge our students, ensuring that they are not bored in the classroom, giving them a chance to expand their education while earning credits while they use beyond high school, whether it's a trade license, a few college credits, or a full associate's degree. We partner with organizations such as Middlesex County College, Fairleigh Dickinson, Rutgers, and the YMCA, ShopRite, and Old Bridge Township Libraries. Old Bridge Township Public School provides the students with the services that are beyond the state-mandated classroom experience. By hosting parent workshops, including for those who are not fluent in English, we reach the students' home support system and gather parents' input in the decision-making process. Equity in education is not just about the students that need help to mainstream. It's about meeting the students where they are and giving them the best chance to excel. We believe the culture in Old Bridge Township Public School does exactly that. So I wanted to share with the public something that we wrote about the township, and it's not just for their eyes, but for you guys to hear as well.
Okay, just a few items. One, I do want to speak to the character education piece again. I didn't really know if that was new business or old business because it was new tonight. I want to thank everyone from the, I believe, 6 schools that participated in it and the district itself that participated in it. It's an arduous task, a lot of data collection, and it wouldn't be possible without the staff and the principals, administrators in there. Again, it wouldn't be possible without the work of Dr. Hoker, who's championed this throughout the years. You're an inspiration, you're a friend, you're like a cousin, you're not a cousin, genetically or by name, but great job, and it's a pleasure to be inspired by you. This just in, like this, as I'm going back and forth on my phone, talking to other superintendents and other legislators that I've been talking to about this, a broadcast came out right before the meeting, and it states, hold on please, the notification is to provide local education agencies with information regarding the K-12 school aid allocations for the upcoming school year. To assist local education agencies in planning their fiscal year for 2026, I'm so glad that they put it out on February 18th. Budgets, the New Jersey Department of Education intends to limit the amount of money in which a school district of aid may be decreased in a single year. So it's a limit on how much you can be decreased in a year. We've been decreased by up to, I think our highest was $7 million in 1 year maybe. So specifically, school districts can anticipate a total of a K-12 state aid will not be decreased by an amount greater than 3% of their state aid, of their K-12 state aid. So our K-12 state aid, rough math, 24 million I think we got last year. So 24 million, 3% of that, math people in the room, about $750,000. Okay, so that's a good thing. I mean, it doesn't fix all our problems, but when you never know if you're going to lose up to $6 to $7 million, to know that there's a hard cap on, a 3% hard cap on how much we can lose. So I will send this out to Dave for your team to digest, Chris for your team to digest, and it's good information to get just as we're closing up new information.
So David, you might be able to get a little bit of sleep. Your budget might be a little easier to do.
Well, if inflation comes down and gas price comes down, transportation comes down, healthcare comes down, all of that comes down, we'll be in a good place.
There you go.
Think how happy everyone will be.
Yeah.
Well, we canceled the snow for Thursday. Like, I think the biggest report I saw, so it was like 24, something inches. Now they're down to 0.
Snowmageddon. Now it's gone.
All right, any other old or new business?
Yes. So back to the district of character, just one more time. So maybe this is silly. I don't know. We're all talking about how this is such an in-depth process and an arduous task. And so I know it's on the agenda, and I see that Mrs. Foley is here. Can we invite the principals of those schools to come? What?
Yes.
Okay, because I want to.
Right.
Right. Right.
Kind of wait till we get to there.
Well, can we do it twice?
Well, then we get the national. If we don't get national, we still do the state recognition. But
I don't know. Just like
So,
get them
so
up here.
principals were told that it would be on the agenda
Okay.
and that we were acknowledging it tonight. It is a little bit of a not wanting to jinx. So right
Okay.
now, everybody who has received the state level is kind of in flux, waiting to find out who their national reviewer is, when that will take place, what specifically they're going to ask for when they come. It's almost like a CUSAC, but looking at that, the character programs. And they'll give a list of, I already talked to Ms. Foley this morning, and she was, asking me about, how to prepare and what else to do. And they're getting ready for that. Back the first time that we did it, we actually had site visitors that came in for 2 days, stayed overnight, and really spent a lot of time in the schools. That's been, since COVID, gone to the wayside a little bit. Now they do it virtually, but there is a series of steps that they have to go through. Once that comes out, then we've done a couple of things. We will make that announcement and have everyone come to the board meeting. And we also, as part of the going through the national process, what the schools are looking at now too is submitting promising practices. So then that information actually doesn't come out until November. And even the national schools are not actually, they're announced, but they're not officially recognized until October or November. So this kind of goes along between now and all the way until October, November.
Okay, sorry for jumping the
No,
gun.
no,
I
it's,
just,
it's a big deal. We're
it's
excited
it's a
about it.
party.
I like
mean,
your excitement.
Okay.
And excellent.
Two things that are going on tomorrow that I just want to bring up. One is Cooper School has the New Jersey Courts School presentation on civics and careers. The 4th and 5th graders will participate. They will have general civics lessons. They will talk about the general positions within the court system. They'll have court employees present their career journey and role in the judiciary system. And they'll be visiting Cooper. At the same time, we have the Rooted in Culture trip around the world, which is at the high school, where the heads of all of our cultural clubs will come together, and our character ambassadors from the elementary schools will be visiting and meeting with them. And then those clubs take it to the next level and go visit our elementary schools. Not every club, because we have so many, but they're strategically going out to all of the elementary schools as a field trip and visiting them, so that our students are exposed to all the different things, all the different opportunities that our high school offers.
And I think it's a great thing with the inclusion proclamation that was passed tonight, that could be included in the district application process.
And Mrs. Cedino, that information you got, can you send it to the board as well?
Should have
Okay.
just came in. Yes, we will make sure it gets to you.
Perfect. All right, thank you.
It's also already on the NJDOE webpage, like the main page.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other old or new business? Okay, we are going into executive session, so thank you all for coming, and hope you stay warm because it is a blustery week. And can I have a motion to go into closed session?
Francisco
Giordano.
will. Hold on. I'll second.
Giordano's.
Got it. Giordano. Francisco. Thank you.
Aye.
All in favor? Aye. Good.
Aye.
Oh my gosh.